Hey there, barbarian goblins. This is the Goblin King, and I'm aggravated. For so many damn reasons, I'm incredibly annoyed. Not just at current day issues. Well, wait, yeah, this one counts as a current day issue, now that I think about it. So, yes, at current day issues, but not current global or economic issues. How about that? Nah, I'm aggravated at the Hollywood agenda. I'm aggravated that these fuckos seem to think that they can just get away with rewriting or completely ignoring anyone's history as long as it suits them. I'm also really fucking annoyed with the current crop of woke archaeologists and so-called historians that will sit there and do all sorts of mental gymnastics and outright lie in order to make everyone's history fit in closer with
the message.
Except they're purse puppy people of color, quote-unquote. Those they don't have to make more diverse or inclusive because the ethno-states centered on melanin are actually supposedly diverse. Also, the actual histories of darker-skinned people don't actually matter because all of these people are fucking racist, and the only history that matters is white history with a veneer of diversity painted over it. Don't take it from me, check out this article from Downing into Comics. Before I get into it though, shout out to Ryan Kennel from RK Outpost. I saw this shit floating around yesterday but didn't pounce on it till I saw Ryan's video, because I'm a bitch. So, again, shout out to him. So, anyway, according to this Downing article, it seems that the Hollywood morons are still very much pulling their crap with trying to diversity and inclusion every bit of Caucasian history. This time, they did it with Netflix's show Vikings Valhalla. What'd they do? Well, they both race and gender swapped an actual Viking Jarl who existed in history, then tried to lie and say it was a fictional character. See, I knew there was a reason I wasn't watching that trash garbage. Every time you think that Netflix is a little based by doing something like backing up Dave Chappelle, they go and do something right on
message.
So this chick is playing a character named Jarl Håkon. A Jarl being a title like chieftain or king, who rules in the Kattegat region of Denmark. See, these idiots are actually trying to claim that the character is entirely fictional in order to avoid the general backlash the woke retards got when they did this to Anne Boleyn. Yet, there was a real dude ruling over the same place by the exact same name, Jarl Håkon Sigurdsson, who was one of the last pagan holdouts against the Christian incursion. The article gives a bit of a history lesson on the real-world Jarl Håkon before going in to talk about how the creator of the show, Jeb Stewart, told the citer that he, quote, did a lot of research on Vikings, unquote. Well, clearly you didn't do enough there, Jeb, because your supposedly fictional character was very much a real person. He also talks about how, through his research, he found they spent a lot of time in the Mediterranean and Egypt specifically. This is still while he's sitting there trying to justify his race and gender swapping of a historical figure, mind you. Now, what the actual fuck does Egypt have to do with that? I think this line of thought goes along with that erroneous belief that Egyptians were black. No, they fucking weren't. Even if we didn't have DNA and skeletal evidence that proves otherwise, we have this. This is Egyptian artwork. These particular paintings depict Egyptians themselves and their closest southern sub-Saharan neighbors, the Nubians. Do you see the difference here? One shows obvious black people in the Nubians. The other shows the Egyptians themselves. Also, what is this weird-ass belief that the Egyptians disappeared? They never fucking went anywhere. Egyptians are still there. Just like the Greeks are still there. Just like the Romans are still there. Just like the Celts are still there. Yes, there have been some weird disappearances of groups of people like the Pueblo peoples, or even outright genocides like the Carthaginians. However, too bad for the great narrative, Egypt isn't one of those. It was conquered. The culture was all but subsumed under the Islamic culture, but the people themselves never fucking went anywhere. The ancients' descendants are still very much alive, and well, and looking pretty much exactly as they always have. Sorry, diatribe over. That's just one that always gets under my skin. That's not to say that black Egyptians didn't and don't exist. Nubians did conquer Egypt a couple of times, and Egypt was a pretty cosmopolitan place even before the Greeks. But they weren't a fucking majority, and Egyptians themselves weren't black. Okay, now the diatribe is over. Promise. So then this idiot goes on to claim conclusively that there were black people who came back with the Vikings, and themselves became Vikings, offering absolutely no proof of this whatsoever, aside from things like this. Ancient sources using descriptive words like black. That's it. This very same article, by the way, goes on to claim that Vikings took black slaves long before the African slave trade was a thing in Europe, because white people bad. Again, without offering any actual evidence. Even the actress herself gets in on the fun, stating that there were most likely non-white rulers in Viking society, talking about how Vikings were mixed peoples and we know that through DNA. Okay, show me the DNA evidence. I know that DNA science is advanced enough that they can generally pinpoint fucking time periods where a specific marker entered a person's genetic lineage. Show me the proof. Show me black genetic markers in more than 0.00001% of Scandinavian, Danish, or Nordic peoples that are older than about 200 or 300 years. Show me all this proof that you have. Show me the DNA evidence that makes you so damn certain. Show me skeletal evidence from actual Viking grave sites, you stupid cow. You know that racial makeup can be determined through bone structure, right? Show me all this evidence that justifies your race and gender swapped history. I'll wait. What really annoys me about shit like this too is not just the disingenuous nature of it all, it's the legitimate racism. I mean, think about it. What they're saying by doing this is that white history, specifically white European history, is the only history that actually matters. That black people don't have their own rich histories that they can draw from and make movies and shows about. I mean, for real, African history literally goes back to the beginning of the human race itself. That's millions of years. Are you going to seriously look at me and tell me that there's nothing there that can make a good historical drama? Africa has, at least a dozen or so countries contained within it in present day? All with their own majority and minority populations, all with their own unique histories and cultures. Africa has been home to dozens, if not hundreds, of kingdoms and empires throughout its history. Like I said, literally the cradle of humanity itself. I mean, you want to make a medieval drama that features black people in a historically accurate way without having to do some weird mental gymnastics? Cover the Iberian Peninsula. The Moors conquered most of Spain and had it under Islamic rule for at least a couple of centuries, the only holdouts being Castile. Do a medieval drama featuring that time period. Or the Reconquista, where the Castilian Spaniards waged their campaign to reconquer Spain from the Moors. Plenty of black folks. The Moorish conquest of Sicily, which happened around the same time, for fuck's sakes. Black people have an amazingly rich history. An actual history that you stupid lying racist cunts don't have to try to justify because you're racist and think white history is the only legitimate history. Anyway, I think that's all I have for you beautiful goblins on this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. While you're down there, don't forget to join the Viridian Horde by crushing those like and subscribe buttons. I'll see you all tomorrow for a movie review. Not the Batman, unfortunately. And another swift kick in the ass for pop culture. I'll see you then. Lates.